Hello, and welcome to Moscato and Tea. This is the show for all things beauty, business, and community with your hosts, Inez and Chiquita, keeping it raw, real, and unfiltered.
Hello, hello, hello. Oh, it's season 7. We are back. Moscato and Tea. What's up, lady?
Hey, what's going on, lady? How are you doing?
I'm doing better. I will say that I'm doing better. I woke up today feeling a little, I can actually breathe, feel a little better in the world, with everything's going on. But I'm very happy that we are back just to get into a lot of discussions. So this is season 7, like I said. And I'm just really excited just to start the conversations, just to see where we are and, where we're going to be going with the show. And I'm just glad to have us back on the air. What do you think? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, the same thing. It's just been a long, it's been a long couple
Seven,
of,
what,
it's
7
been
months? Yeah.
like 7, 8 months, I believe.
Yeah. Yes, it's been
Right?
a long time. It's been about 7 or 8 months. And we are,
Yeah,
just to let everybody, we are still in quarantine, like at home, recording from our home. So we're
yeah.
still not in the studio. So
No,
you guys may, hear a click or two or whatever, because we are recording from home. But we just wanted to get back into getting the episodes uploaded for you guys and just get the conversation started. So let's get on into it. So what do you think about the results?
good, perfect. A little a sigh of relief. It's about time. I mean, here's what I said. Good always conquers evil, regardless. I
Mm-hmm.
just think that, people finally realize that how important it is that their vote does count. I
Mm-hmm.
think voter suppression is very, very big and it's huge, especially in a lot of these red states where, especially in the South, where, you want to keep
Mm-hmm.
people quiet and not getting them through. We're in California, so we are a blue state. So, I mean, by landslide, we're always, blue, but I think it was really important. I was disappointed. Okay, so there's a double-edged sword for me on both. I was super ecstatic. We got it, got him out. He's throwing a tantrum and being a child like he is. But I was disappointed, and it should have been a landslide. Like it really should have been a landslide. And I do think that people
Yep.
should have opened up their eyes and really been like, hey, you know what? With the multicultural, uh, we're
Landscape of
such a,
America.
yeah, yes, we're very, yes, that's a good word for it. The multicultural landscape of America, the reality that it didn't go that way was quite, it shouldn't be surprising, but it is surprising. As
Yeah,
many people who have been oppressed voting for this man, that's where I was like, yo, that's really, that's crazy to me. Like, you really are in denial of who you are, what you're about, and what's really going on. Or you just, it's
I
about,
agree.
again, that, or it's just that me mentality. Well, it'll never happen to me, so I could give a shit. So I'm going to do whatever, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to vote for, whatever. I wasn't surprised on white women. They are always very disappointing, but it is what it is. What a lot of white men, like 55% of white women voted for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Not surprising. They did it in the first one, but then, I was talking to someone and they were very, they're like, I'm not surprised. White women want to be white men and, want to be white men and powerful. I could understand that with
Mm-hmm.
being, suppressed and women, white women not realizing that they are a minority and they are suppressed. But hey, that's a whole different conversation and topic. And about 18 to 20% of black men voting for Trump. But then again,
Yes.
they made this person I was talking to made a very good, valid point. These black men wanted to be white men and thinking they can be in power.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing that kind of attitude. So that was a different perspective for me. But in all, it's a new day. It's much better. Like we could actually sigh, like a sigh of relief
Mm-hmm.
a little bit, we're still going to have racism,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
blatantly
Of course.
not going to be in the kind of
Mm-hmm.
rhetoric and kind of craziness that it's going to be. Because this president, with having a Black and Asian, Indian uh,
Mm-hmm.
woman from immigrant parents, that says a lot. That says a
Yeah.
lot on where our country is going and where we're moving forward.
Yeah. Well,
Um, mm,
let me throw out there though what was been talked about lately with the votes is the Latino votes
mhm,
in Florida. A large
mhm,
majority, well, Cuban. Let me rephrase that. The Cuban vote,
yeah,
they voted
mhm,
for Trump, and
uh-huh,
they said the reason why because a lot of the commercials were targeting Biden as a socialist, um,
mhm,
talking about how things will be like
mhm,
in other countries, Colombia, Venezuela. So they were really
mhm.
targeting him as socialist. So like, I think they said like 50 to 60% of like Cubans in Florida voted for Trump again. What do you think
Yeah.
about that?
One, I'm not surprised. So here's the thing: we were talking
Mm-hmm.
about this too, that the Latino community is huge. Okay, the
Mm-hmm.
Latin country, there's a ton of different Latin countries. So depending on from what Latin country you come from, and your experience is going to kind of tell what goes on here and who you're gonna vote for and what it's gonna be. I'm not surprised that the Cuban Latino voted for Trump. Mind you, they don't even see Trump as a Castro-like type of person, right? They're looking at it,
Which is
they're talking about, yeah, which is crazy, right? Because, considering, but then they might think of him less of an evil person than Castro and where their environment and where they're coming from and what they're looking for. So for them, it's all about freedom and being over. They came from a socialist, a socializing, a socialist country, right? Very come, you
mm,
do what we tell you. This is how it is. So I'm not surprised that they voted in that way if they're being targeted to think in that way, And a lot of them, it's a lot
mm,
of for them, anything is better. They will vote for anyone who they feel won't go back into that kind of environment. Now, here we go.
mm.
We got the Cubans over there. Now, let's say we got the Southern, like Mexicans, Salvadorians, Ecuadorian, Guatemaltecos, people from the, yeah, the opposite side, let's just say. Their experience
Yeah.
and what their experience and what they've lived is completely different from what a Cuban has lived,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they're fleeing countries
Mm-hmm.
that are just disastrous. They're trying to flee. There's all kinds of things going on. So for them, living in a world that would be kind of like Biden would also be fleeing something complete. Living in a world with like Biden and freedom to be able to do
Mm-hmm.
what they need to do and come to a country is a completely different experience. So I think depending on where you're coming from and us understanding, and it's such a deep rabbit hole that
Mm-hmm.
it is it's something that needs to be talked about but isn't really talked about. How but the racism even in their own countries, and how people were, it's just a whole different, it's a whole different scenario. You come from a country like Cuba that is very racist, even being black
Yeah.
and white. Let's keep that 100. That is very
Yeah.
racist. And now you're here and you're hearing the same shit you heard at home. It doesn't seem
Mm-hmm.
unfamiliar, right? It
Yes.
doesn't seem
Yeah.
wrong,
No. Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
It's like, well, what
Well,
the what the hell? Hmm. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
well, what's interesting is the Latino vote in Arizona went for Biden. So you have like it's kind of the same thing with
Hmm.
the people. Everybody is not the same. So it's very
Absolutely.
interesting to see the opposite in Arizona and then
Well,
in their
look at
vote and what.
absolutely, but look at where the Latino community where they're migrating from to Arizona, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they might be migrating from Mexico, El Salvador, Ecuador, southern South America, right? So their experience in South America is definitely going to be different, or in South America or even Mexico. Their experience is going to be completely different than coming from Cuba or the islands
Mm-hmm.
or anywhere else. So, to group Latinos all in one and assume
Mm-hmm.
that they all think of the same is kind of, it's kind of ridiculous. Like even us here, it showed us here,
Yeah.
even as Black folks, right? To group all
And
Black folks
exactly.
to think the same is kind of ridiculous, because the reality is we all don't think the same, and we all don't have the same values and morals and ideas of what America should be like,
Mm-hmm. No, I
and what
completely
you're
agree.
fleeing. Yeah, what your dream is. What is your American dream coming from another country, and what is your American dream being born and raised in this country?
Mm-hmm. Well,
And
I
I
think,
think. Mhm.
yeah, I was just going to say, kind of with that thought, what I've been noticing on social media, a lot of people are saying how 70 million people, that voted for Trump, we should be, feeling bad for them, and how we should be, not celebrating, that Biden won. And my thing is, what about the 74 million that voted for Biden? Why do we automatically have to comfort the
It's
person
no,
of
and
the
here's
losing
yeah.
team,
I,
because we didn't get that in 2016?
Right. No, here's the thing. It's like any other. Here's the here. This is where I say it's the hypocrisy of it all. Right.
Mm-hmm.
In 2016, when Trump won, it was a party. People were going buck wild. I mean, your party won. You have a right to celebrate and be happy that your party won. Right. It is what it is. And we, as Democrats and people who are a Democratic Party, had to eat that shit, swallow the
Yeah.
pill, and keep it
Mm-hmm.
pushing.
Yeah.
That it is what it is, right? So when the Trump administration came out, they came out with their racist flags and everything else, and talk about nigga everything you can think of, and talk about we're here, this is our America,
Yeah.
and we've been dealing with that shit for 4 years.
Mm-hmm. And
Racism
now,
on a high,
yeah.
police brutality even more so, all of that shit, right? So now
Mm-hmm.
that it's proven again, which is he lost the first time by popular vote. The only reason he won was because he got these, electoral votes in these states. But as far as popular votes, no,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we had to eat it. And we said we need to change things. It shouldn't be that way. Now he lost again by popular vote, and he lost by
Like,
the electoral states. Now everybody's like, oh well, we shouldn't be celebrating, and Trump supporters, we don't need to do shit but do what we want to do and celebrate. And they need to swallow that pill and take it like we did, all the Democratic blue state did, and everybody else, and deal with it and figure out
mm-hmm.
what they're going to do in the next 4 years. And then it's our turn in these next 4 years to make sure that things are done properly and correctly and make it viable. So when in the next 4 years, we win
Mm-hmm.
another term.
Exactly.
That's
I
all.
think,
That's all it is.
yeah, I think the biggest thing is holding Biden accountable. Because like you said, with the Trump administration, we couldn't hold anybody accountable because everybody was in on it together. But I think
Absolutely. And
with
yeah, go ahead with the Biden.
with
But here's the
the new one,
difference. You got somebody, you got Biden, who is a politician and has been a politician and has been in the politics world and understands politics, to someone who doesn't give a shit about nobody but himself. So
yes.
how do you can't hold accountable. And here's the thing, they needed to hold him accountable, but the GOP party was just afraid of him. They did not
Mm-hmm.
want, everybody was walking on eggshells because they wanted to keep their jobs and get fired. Well, guess what? You're fired anyways because you were voted out by the people who voted you in.
Mm-hmm.
So you might have kept your fucking job if you would have done the thing and stood up for right and done what was supposed to be done. Then people would have said, okay, well, we don't need to get rid of them because they're doing their job.
Well,
But, huh?
one thing with that though, which is really surprising, they what's that? Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell kept their job, and
Yeah.
they have not done anything for their states. And like the
But
states are South Carolina and Kentucky are like, they have not helped their people at all, but they won again. So it's like
because
it
these
makes you
people are
wonder.
blinded. You have
Yeah.
to understand, if you're ignorant and you don't educate yourself, you're going
Mm-hmm.
to be caught up in blindness and stupidity and dumbness, right? So if you just follow the crowd and don't step back, it's going to continue. And that's what we were saying too. Like, our whole, when the Constitution and all of these things were put in place, we're talking at a time where there wasn't the population that we have now. And nobody's saying you got to change the Constitution, and nobody's saying all of these things. But what we can do is amend things to follow the what is going on now, and how is that affecting people now.
Yeah.
That's what we should, why isn't that popular vote should count? We, the people here's where I think that this politician, and I don't believe there should be two parties. I believe there should be a third party. And that way there, it's just not like Democratic, Republican. There should be an independent party. There should be somebody else in there, all three of them fighting for their positions, and all three of them putting out what they're doing. And then, you know what? Let the people vote for who they want, because at the end of the day, we put you in there. You work for us. That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, surprisingly, I was looking online, and it used to be like, the early stages of the presidential elections, it used to be like 3 and 4 candidates running.
Right.
So I don't know where we got off the rails as a country to where it dwindled down to just 2-party system. Because it used to be 3 and 4 people running for president. And I think that goes towards where our money is going and the financing is going, because it comes down to money at the end of the day. And
absolutely.
I think unless we come together, country.
Yeah, and then right. And people are talking about capitalism and socialism, and what I believe that there's a place for both. I believe there's a place for both. I don't believe that it's an all or nothing kind of deal. It's just there is no accountability for what people do and what they say. Nobody's being fired. I'm hoping that with this election, that the next group of politicians that are coming in are going to start realizing that, now people are really going to vote, and they can vote my ass out. So I better step up to the plate and start doing the things that I need to do.
It's true, because it's at the end of the day, it's about what the people want. And if they're putting people in these positions, they should be signing laws and creating laws that benefits the people. And I think there needs to be more transparency with these politician people, whatever laws they're bringing up, where they basically, if you want to create a new law or amend a law, you need to put it online, and you need to go talk to the people in your area, in your
absolutely
state,
we all
and talk to them. You can't just vote for stuff just because you're getting money from the lobbyists. Like, that needs to stop.
Absolutely. That's the thing. It's not about the people anymore. It's about these big corporations and big money, and saying we need this to do our business. But then what happens is that the people are suffering. So I'm hoping, even though it wasn't by a landslide, and I'm hoping that it's letting people know and letting the government know that, I think people have had enough. Enough is enough, and we're going to go out there and now start voting. You can't tell people that their vote doesn't count anymore, because it was proven right now in this election that every vote counts.
Yes, exactly. 75 million. Like, this is the most but
not even Obama had that many people. Yeah. And even Obama did not have that many black people voting for him. But here's the deal. There was so many brand new registered voters.
Yes, young people.
Young people. And, these old people need to start being scared. That's what I'm saying. It's like Lindsey Graham, all these. Listen, mofo, you did your term. You should have, like the president, you got 2 terms, you're out. Get the fuck on out. We need you out. The same thing with the Supreme Court. I don't believe anybody should be on the Supreme Court for a lifetime. Get out. You did 4 years. You did 8 years. Get the fuck on out. Move it. Let's get to the next part. Let's get somebody else in there. Let's start moving, because then that's how you move and shake and be progressive and move forward. We're stuck in a freaking time warp, because these old ass people who got in there when they were young and they're 50 years in there, you're like, how are we moving forward?
Yeah.
How are we progressing?
Exactly. The only good thing that I've seen, like a lot of the laws, like they're starting to, with this election, a lot of states have opened it where people that have gotten out of jail, they're able to vote now. So that's really good.
Yeah, California passed it.
And I think
absolutely. Listen, if you're in jail, here's the thing. That's a lot of votes that aren't being counted for. Like if
Mm.
you go to jail, there are certain things that I'm like, okay, you're right. You went to jail. You don't deserve these rights. But if you went to jail for selling some weed and now you can never
Yeah.
vote again, I think that's the
Yeah.
dumbest shit ever.
Yeah. I agree. I agree.
You,
That's
you for selling some damn weed that now is freaking legal, and the
yeah.
same
Built out.
mofos that wanted to put all the black and brown people in jail for selling weed are now opening up dispensaries
Mm-hmm. I
and
know.
putting
It's
their
crazy.
money behind that. So to me, I go, well, no, that's why it's like, nah, you should be able to vote. I don't care if you sold weed or not. That's not you know what I'm saying. You didn't kill nobody.
Yeah.
You weren't whatever. If you kill somebody, you deserve. Okay, then I'd be like, well, shit, you don't deserve. It's like a child being punished. Okay, you know what? You stole. Okay, you stole it the first time. Yo, did you learn a lesson? Yeah. Okay, cool. Then we don't stop and punish that kid forever because he stole a piece of candy because he didn't. Desperate times mean desperate means. But again,
Yeah.
these were all ways in the 80s to incarcerate all the black and brown people, suppress votes. So that way people don't have the right to speak and vote and do the things that are going to change this country into the wave that it's going into. But it's like the dam is full. Eventually the dam is going to break.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And yeah, and right now, what did they do? What happened? People spoke and the dam broke.
Mm-hmm. People are
You
frustrated
know?
because literally he cut like he got rid of almost everything that was in Obama's laws and everything. Like he cut everything. And
And
what
then
also was surprising
mhm.
was the high rate of LGBTQ votes that he got. So that was really surprising. With the way
Again, these people are assuming that this man gives a fuck about them. He gives
yeah.
zeros. The only people he cares about are the people in the top 1% that are making the fucking money. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's like, oh, Biden's going to raise our taxes. I've seen so many memes. One of them had me dying on
Mm-hmm.
TikTok. This one dude's like, for all you middle class America that's
TikTok.
talking about Biden, Biden's gonna take your raise your taxes. He literally hit the camera. He's like, he ain't talking about you. You're not middle. He's talking about the 400,000. He goes, Trump, if you made $75,000 or more, you were being taxed. Everybody on top of that wasn't. I'm like, people, do your damn research. And then
Mm-hmm.
fake news. When did the news and the media, that's what I'm saying, CNN, all of them, y'all need to y'all need to get the fuck out of here with this shit. You guys are
Yeah.
spewing things that aren't true because of your own personal agenda.
Oh yeah. Big time.
But could you
That
imagine if
That's actually one thing I think everybody can agree on, no matter what side you vote on. Everybody can agree that the media and the way they twist things is just crazy. So I think that's one thing we can all agree on.
yeah, media, them being a news reporter was being recognized and reputable, and this dumb fuck just go out there and say fake news, fake news. I mean, did you see the one recently? A news reporter's on TV and he's telling it, and a Trump supporter is in the background going, oh, are you reporting fake news? Are you doing this? And the reporter just turned around and said, fuck you, and went back to doing what he had to do. I died. I was like, finally,
Yeah.
like fuck you, mind your business, let me do my job. I thought the shit was hilarious.
Oh my God, that is too much. I can't. I can't. That's crazy. Yeah. No, it's been a long 4 years. Let me just say that. But I hopefully, there is some relief coming, with everybody. I just hope people just wake up and realize that, like you were saying, it's not just about you. It's about your neighbors. It's about your family. Because if you don't, come together,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just voting just for yourself, then, it's not going to work out for everybody. It's not going to work out for you in the end, because not only do you need, your family and your friends, but, the small business owners and stuff like that, you need them in the community. So it's like, think about them when you're going into these places to vote, because it's all full circle. We need each other at the end of the day. So, but with this as our season 7 first episode, we're gonna go ahead and end it there. because we got so much more to talk about this year, going into this year. I just want to simmer it, savor it for right now. And we will talk to you guys again on the next episode. Talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Thanks for listening. Take a little time to enjoy your brand of Moscato and Tea with us every day. Subscribe, rate, and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and MoscatoandTea.com.